R&B diva Audrey Wheeler. She's up next. Let's talk. What's up, everybody out there? How you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode over here. I'm your host, your R&B historian, Peppy. Again, thank you for tuning in. We're talking about R&B diva Audrey Wheeler today. Oh my gosh. Now, if you follow me on my community post, then you already know that I posted that I was actually talking about going to review Audrey Wheeler, I don't know, maybe about a month or so ago. I'm just now getting around to uploading a video regarding Audrey Wheeler, okay? So that's what took me so long. It just took me so long, I never got around to doing it. And so what I want to do now is go over all of those posts that I posted over on the community tab on my YouTube channel and just basically, get those R&B divas out the way for those of you who have been anticipating me uploading a video. But before I go any further, yes, I have a call to action. My call to action is that, hey, got to get those subscribers up. So I'm asking you guys to hit the share button, the like button, the subscribe button, all of that. That lets YouTube know that you guys are pretty much, being active over here on the channel. So I appreciate that. You new viewers, you returning viewers, and you subscribers. You have not because you ask not. And so I'm asking. I almost now feel like I know how the preachers feel behind the pulpit now, when they said, hey, I can't do this without you. And now I'm looking at it like over all those years, like I understand, like I really can't do it without you guys. And I appreciate your involvement. So again, thank you guys so much for that. Now let's just go ahead on and hop right into it and get the show moving along. And I want to talk to you guys about my Divas with Books. That's right. I have a Divas with Book Club, and I want to talk to you guys about that, get that out the way real quick. So I have a book club, Divas with Books. And right now, the books that I am reading or have read, and I will talk about eventually somewhere around on this channel, will be Faith Evans, Keep the Faith, Gladys Knight, Between Each Line of Pain and Glory, David Nathan, The Soulful Divas, and Joyce Cinderella Irby's book, Between Each Line of Pain and Glory. I Still Say Yes. That's right. Sorry about that little hiccup right there. But yes. So I have those books actually over here behind me. This is definitely not a paid promotion. All right. Again, as I stated throughout every video that I post, I have these books behind me. But again, I'm just learning about my R&B divas, and I'm asking you guys, hey, to learn about them with me as well. Some of you guys have stated that you have already read these books. That's great. That's wonderful. My position over here is that they keep saying that R&B music is DEAD, and what I want to do is let everyone know that R&B music is alive and well. Okay. And these R&B divas, as well as soul men, they're out there performing, keeping this music going and alive. Some of them, this is pretty much what they, do. This is their careers, their bread and butter. Some have been off the scene for a while, and some have come back For example, Karen White, for example, she was off out of the music scene for a while, but it looks like now she's back out and performing and things like that. So my goal is to just make sure that, you guys go out and you buy the music if they have current music out, these books that they have out, you go out and purchase the books. Not only that, go to their concerts, their shows. I'm pretty sure that they'll appreciate that. Go to their social media pages and, hit the like buttons over there and follow them on their social media pages. And also do the same for me over here. Over here, what I pretty much do is I just review the music over here. And every now and then, just every now and then, sometimes not all the time, but every now and then, I do dish out the dirt on who dropped, kicked who in these entertainment streets. Yes, I do that from time to time, but not all the time. But we're talking about R&B divas with books, all right? So we're going to move right along from divas with books, and we're going to go into the next segment of the show. In the next segment of the show, I like to talk about what that is. Ooh, and I like it. That's right. Ooh, and I like it. Now, this lady here, all right, and of course, right now, I'm doing books, okay? And I am, I guess, talking to you guys about books that I have read or got halfway through, or I'm eventually trying to get around to reading, all right? So not only have I dived into my music collection, but also my book collection. Now, I guess when it comes to degrees and things like that in profession, I am a history major, English minor, all right? And so, I just love to read. As a matter of fact, the first book that that kind of kickstart me reading would be the encyclopedia. Believe it or not, my grandmother purchased a set of encyclopedias, during my preteens. And that, it just got me interested in just reading, And so, therefore, I branched out into, history and an English major. And eventually, got a master's in counseling. But anywho, long story short, short story long, this young lady here, I came across her book. I like to go to Barnes and Nobles. It's just what it is. I like to go to bookstores. I go to music stores. I like to go to bookstores. That's just what I do, right? And so, some people say bore, but not me. I have fun. Trust me, I have fun. Give me a nice piece of cheesecake and a latte and a good book, and there I am, just sitting down at the table, just reading and eating. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, but this lady here, I actually had to go because I didn't want to mess up her name. So I actually had to go and look at watch an interview just to make sure I pronounced her name correctly. Okay, her name is Ilyasha Shabazz. I think that's how you pronounce her name. But anyway, she is one of Malcolm X's daughters, okay? And she had a book out. The book came out, when did this book come out? This book came out in, gosh, I'm looking for the year this book came out, believe it or not. But anyway, this book is an old book, is what I'm trying to get to. This is not a new book at all. It looks like this book came out in 2002 is when this book came out, 2002. And I came across the book and I said, okay, let me, read this book and see what it's about. And I have to tell you, what really drew me to the book was the title. I just love the title, Growing Up X. The title alone just really and truly intrigued me. I knew, obviously it was Malcolm X. I didn't know it was about his daughter's account until I, started to read the back cover of the book. But then it's a very clever title to me. It really is. But anyway, Ilyasha Shabazz. Actually, she released this book, or this book was published back in 2002. And I'm letting you guys know that I actually have the book. I was able, like I said, I'm going to pull my books out now so I can show you that I actually have the book. Again, let me state this one more time. These are not paid promotions at all. This is just a segment of my show called Ooh and I Like It. But just to let you know that I actually have a copy of the book, and I read this book. It's a great book, by the way. It really is a great book. So let me talk to you guys just briefly about this book to give you some background information, if you will. So Growing Up X is a memoir by the daughter of Malcolm X. And the book was released in 2002. Yasha Shabazz. She's the third daughter of Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz. Shabazz wrote the book with Kim McElrory. Growing Up X, Shabazz wrote about what it was like growing up in the shadow of her father, a human rights activist who was, deleted when she was born 2 years old. She also writes about her mother and sisters in her early life growing up, along with her personal memories and feelings about Malcolm X. Shabazz has commented that she was nervous about releasing the book because she did not want to ruin people's expectations of her, but has received unexpectedly great praise for her writing. Yes, I can understand her reservations probably about doing this, but I'm here to tell you, like, it was a great book. I suggest you guys go out and purchase this book if you have not read it. If you are a historian, such as myself, then please do so. If you're looking for just a great book to read, I suggest you do so. If you're looking for a great book to just have a great conversation, this is a conversation that you can really have, with people. This is a good book to have conversations about as well. It's just what it is. A wonderful, great book. Yasha Shabazz, great book. And so I want to, let you guys know what I have read and what I'm reading. So we're going to move right along from that, and we're going to go right into the next segment of the show. In the next segment of the show, back down memory lane. That's right. Oh my gosh. I was thinking about what I want to cover in back down memory lane. And as it relates to music, this guy here, oh my gosh. I was such a big fan of his back in the day. I often talk to you guys about how I was just glued into the television set. Watching music videos and everything. And I also talked to you guys about the fact that if you haven't watched all the videos, I talked about how as a child growing up, just listening to music, I started to understand the different formats of music, okay? And those different formats of music would be, I noticed that on BET, there was a certain songs that I would hear. Then I would listen, go over and watch BET, and I would see certain songs, certain videos of certain artists. And then I remember, is it Friday night videos? I think there was something called like Friday night videos. And I would see certain videos on Friday night videos. And then my mother growing up in my household, listening to, standing there when my mother and my dad and my aunts and uncles and their friends, they would be playing cards. Friday evenings and Saturday evenings, they would play cards. Everybody would come over and play cards. So they would go over someone else's house and play cards. They would listen to music as well during that time. And for my mom and my stepdad, they listened to blues, and I guess you could call it the current R&B music of the time. And so I heard music that way. And then my grandmother, when I would go over to my grandmother's house and spend the night over my grandmother's house sometimes, and then eventually, there was a time as a child I lived with my grandmother. She would wake up, and when she started cleaning up, she would listen to what I now know was top 40. Like easy listening, country music, top 40 pop music she would listen to. And so then I realized that there were some artists who I would hear on different radio stations, on her stations. But again, that's how I developed my taste for music. That's why it's so broad with me, is because I was realizing, like, okay, I'm listening to all kinds of radio stations, and I've gotten to the point now when it comes to music, if it's good music, I'm going to listen to it. It doesn't matter. Now, my preference, if I had to choose, would be what we would call traditional or old school R&B music. I just love it. But anywho, long story short, short story long, going back to this gentleman right here, Melvin Lindsay. I didn't know at the time until I started looking up information about him in his career. So when I got to the point in my life where I discovered, listen, I didn't know anything about music stores back then. I didn't. Not when I was like, I don't know, maybe about 9, 10, and 11. I didn't know anything about music stores, but I still loved music, right? So my mom would have these cassettes, like these cassette tapes in plastic, and she would have them around the house. And I discovered that I could make my own records, if you will, by listening to the radio, hitting the play and the record button, and listening to, the music over again. So when I learned that I could do that, that's all I did. Listen to the radio, and I would hit, the record or the play button when the song comes up, that it was a song that I liked. I'm going somewhere. So then when it came to night, like, let's say, for instance, you can count on that. I'm pretty sure if you was listening to the radio, I'm going to assume it would be like clockwork. 11:59. You would start getting the music coming on at 11:59, letting you know now it's Quiet Storm. In Quiet Storm, you would basically hear the music. They would play nothing but slow songs from 12 o'clock, from midnight, all the way up to, maybe about 5 o'clock, I guess. They would play that. And I had no idea that Melvin Lindsay is the gentleman who came up with this concept of what we now call Quiet Storm radio, which I don't think no one is doing that anymore. No one is playing Quiet Storm music. I don't think so, but hey, I don't listen to the radio anymore. But anyway, but what I know about Melvin Lindsay is that he was one of the, I guess you want to call VJs, is that what they called them back in the day? Over at BET, and you would see him. I don't think he ever hosted. What did Melvin Lindsay do? I would see Melvin Lindsay. Melvin Lindsay, to me, I guess he was like a music journalist, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhat like Belma Johnson. I know you guys probably saying, who is Belma Johnson? But every now and then you would get someone to come on who would do music commentary about kind of like how we do now, on YouTube, YouTube channels, so on and so forth. They would talk about the current music news. If anything was current in music, then this guy, Melvin Lindsay, he would pop up and do it. What's that guy name? Oh, Paul Porter. So there was Melvin Lindsay, Paul Porter, Belma Johnson. I think Angela Stribling would show up every now and then. Oh my gosh, this is so, oh my gosh. I know everybody's probably out there, say Sherry Carter, say Sherry Carter. Yes, Sherry Carter would show up too. Madeline Woods, oh my gosh, this is like, Madeline Woods, like, let me just calm down. I know because I'm getting excited. But anyway, long story short, so that's what they would do. And eventually it looked like they branched out and got their own shows, like you had Sherry Carter with Video LP and so on and so forth, is where I'm going with that. And then, of course, Donnie Simpson. See, it's one of those things now where you start dropping names, like you got to tell everybody, because I know those of you who are watching who in my age range or older, you're going to start saying, you remember this one, you remember this one. So, anywho, it's what it is. So, without further ado, let's talk about Melvin Lindsay. That's why I'm trying. I did all of that, and still I have not talked about Melvin Lindsay. So let's talk about Melvin Lindsay briefly. So he's known for Quiet Storm. All right, the Quiet Storm format. And Quiet Storm is a radio format in genre of R&B, performed in smooth, romantic, jazz-influenced style. It was named after the title of a Smokey Robinson 1975 album, A Quiet Storm. You know, that's where it came from. All right, let me see here. The radio format was pioneered in 1976 by Melvin Lindsay while he was an intern at the Washington, D.C. radio station WHUR-FM. It eventually became regarded as an identifiable subgenre of R&B. Quiet Storm was marketed to upscale, mature African-American artists during the 1980s and fell out of favor with young listeners when the age of hip-hop showed up, okay? So Melvin Lindsay, he was a student at Howard University, go figure, with his classmate Jack Schuler began as disc jockeys for WHUR in June of 1976, performing as stand-ins for an absentee employee. Lindsay's on-air voice was silky smooth, and the music selections were initially old, slow romantic songs from Black artists of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, a form of easy listening, which Lindsay called beautiful Black music for African Americans. The response from listeners was positive, and WHUR station manager Kathy Hughes, oh my gosh, soon gave Lindsay and Schuler their own show. The name of the show came from the Smokey Robinson song Quiet Storm from his 1975 album, A Quiet Storm. The song developed into Lindsay's theme music, which introduced his time slot every night. The Quiet Storm was 4 hours of melodically soulful music that provided an intimate, laid-back mood for late-night listening, and that was the key to its tremendous appeal among adult audiences. The format was an immediate success, becoming so popular that within a few years, virtually every station in the U.S. with a core Black urban listenership adopted a similar format for its graveyard slot, okay? In the San Francisco Bay Area, KBLX-FM expanded the nighttime concept into a 24-hour Quiet Storm format in 1979. In the New York tri-state late night market, Von Harper, oh my gosh, these names. Wow. Anyway, moving right along, Von Harper, a very popular DJ. The Quiet Storm Graveyard program for WBLS-FM, which he developed with co-host Champagne in mid-1983. And in 1993, Harper took ill and Champagne continued the program as Quiet Storm 2. Following the footsteps of KBLX, Lawrence Tanter of KUTE in Greater Los Angeles changed his station to an all-day Quiet Storm format from January 1984 until September 1987, playing a hybrid that incorporated pop, jazz, fusion, international, and urban music, addressing the misconception that Quiet Storm was only for Blacks. Tanter said his listenership was 40% Black, 40% white, and 20% other races. WLNR-FM in Chicago also changed in August of 1985 to a 24-hour Quiet Storm program called The Soft Touch, featuring more instrumental music and even straight-ahead jazz, a mix which sales manager Gregory Brown described as not so laid back as other Quiet Storm shows. A notable feature of WLNR was that the 4 regular DJs were women. So anywho, that's pretty much what we get with Melvin Lindsay, the history of the Quiet Storm radio format. Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome when I found out that he is the guy who's responsible for the Quiet Storm format. It was great. And the thing that I like most about that was some of the songs that were on some albums that were slow songs that were not released as as singles on some albums, you would hear on the Quiet Storm stations, at night. So that was also, I think, good, because now when I look back at some of these songs that I hear, some of these slow songs, you guys, what I've discovered is that these songs charted, these slow songs charted because of the Quiet Storm format. They didn't chart high, sometimes around the 70, 60 numbers, but again, they charted because they was just played on the Quiet Storm format, so it is what it is. Also, great. And I don't think Melvin Lindsay is no longer with us. As a matter of fact, I think Melvin Lindsay passed. When did Melvin Lindsay pass? I think Melvin Lindsay passed in 1992. So it's interesting because by the time I found out about Melvin Lindsay is when he passed, when he was coming on to, when I was noticing him, is basically when he passed. Well, I know what you're saying. Get to Audrey Wheeler. That's right. Get Audrey Wheeler on the phone, because we're talking about R&B diva Audrey Wheeler. Oh my gosh, like, I do know what to say, when it comes to Audrey Wheeler. And I want to, like I said, it's just, let me switch hats. I got to switch hats. I got to get into my Audrey Wheeler. I think now that I am doing this, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to work on that eventually, maybe sometime this weekend. It's try to also do an introduction for each. Gosh, I'm sorry. Hey, I don't know what happened. My hand went up, and I'm sorry. Hey, things happen. Laugh at it and keep moving. Go like, what the world was that? And no, I know I should probably cut it out, but I'm not going to cut it out. I'm not going to do it. Hey, it's going to be fun, right? We're going to have fun. Hey, that's it. That's what you do in this world, right? That's what I'm learning how to do. Sometimes you make a mistake or you mess up. Hey, let everybody see it. Be like, oh, okay, well, shoot, you ain't the first one to mess up. You ain't the first one to do something wrong. Keep it moving. Say like, okay. Like, all right. Right, but what I was saying is I think I'm going to try to do an introduction for each segment. That's what I was trying to get to. Oh, all right, we're 30 minutes in. Let's get right into it. Audrey Wheeler. Now, I got to have an Audrey Wheeler story. Like, if I have a story, I'm going to, tell my story. It's not a long story at all. So there I am. I'm having a conversation with my aunt. The aunt that I'm always having a conversation when it comes to music, by the way. So anyway, one day I was over to the house and we was having a conversation, and she loves Will Downing. Like, she has all of Will Downing's albums for the most part, right? So there we are discussing Will Downing because his CDs are there. We're talking about. And I know for me, I probably, said something about, like, Will Downing for me is kind of like a hit or a miss, but overall in general, I like his music, right? And so she, thinking that I didn't know, my aunt thinking that I didn't know, she was like, yeah, and I bet you don't even know who he's married to. I looked at her like, It was me. Like, I was sitting there like kind of pretending like, yeah, I'm going to make her, kind of, be intrigued as I'm looking at her like, I was like, Audrey Wheeler. That's exactly what I did. I was like, Audrey Wheeler. I was like, oh, okay. See, she didn't think I knew Audrey Wheeler. You know what I'm saying? So this is how I discovered Audrey Wheeler music, this album that we're about to talk about. So there I was one day, as I normally do. I'm glued into the television set, BET, watching my videos, and I just love when a new video shows up because, you know, whoever, if it's Paul Porter, Sherry Carter, or whomever, Donnie Simpson, you know, introducing a new video. And there it is, Audrey Wheeler. She has a new video, a new song, a new video. It's called I'm Yours Tonight, and I listened to it. When I watched the video, I listened to the song, you know, as the video is playing. And I'm like, okay, this is nice. This is really nice. I was like, okay, I think I can like this song. But after that, I didn't hear much from her again. You know, just that one song. It came and it went. You know, I didn't hear anything else from her. Well, what I want to do is I want to review this particular album. And of course, when I went back to listen to this album, I discovered there's an album before this one that I'm also going to get into as well. So I get around to it. But anyway, let's just jump right into this review with Audrey Wheeler. We're going to talk about the particular album. And I feel like some things are just kind of off right now. But anyway. So who is Audrey Wheeler? Who is Audrey Wheeler? What do we know about Audrey Wheeler before we get started? Audrey Wheeler is a New York-based session singer. Audrey sang in the local choir and was a finalist in the Miss Black America pageant, as well as a runner-up in the Miss Black Universe contest while still in her teens. Her recording career began in the early 1980s with Bert and Ray Reid and William Anderson. Former members of the 70s disco band Crown Heights Affair were looking for a female singer for their new group they were forming. Their self-titled debut album, Unlimited Touch, was released by Prelude Records. She has recorded background vocals for numerous artists throughout the 1980s, including Najee, Atlanta Starr, Eric Gable, Freddie Jackson, Glenn Jones, and James Williams, and many more. Between 1981 and 1983, she sang as a lead vocalist with Unlimited Touch. Searching to Find the One, in 1985, was the featured vocalist on Step by Step by Jeff Lober. In 1987, she signed to Capitol and released Let It Be Me, including Irresistible, produced by Preston Glass. During the early 90s, she recorded the duet This Must Be Heaven with Omar Chandler on his self-titled set in 1991. In 1991, Chic member Nile Rodgers formed a new label, BMG distributed label Ear Candy, and was looking for new acts. And of course, as you have it, Audrey Wheeler, who by now had established a good reputation as a studio vocalist, was signed to a deal, and her I'm Yours album was released that year. When Ear Candy went out of business not too long after the release of her album, Audrey returned to concert and session work. So that's pretty much explains why I said the video came and then it went. Like, I didn't hear much from her. So it looks as if the record company folded, after the release of this album. It's a good album. I can go ahead on and start by saying that. And also, too, before I go any further, if I understand correctly from some news outlets, I could be wrong. It looks as if it is true, then my condolences. It looks as if Will Downey and Audrey Wheeler may have lost a child. And so my condolences to them as well. And it looks like if it's true, it happened this year. Okay. Now, when it comes to this album by Audrey Wheeler, let me just hop right into saying this. Audrey Wheeler is known as a session singer, a background singer. And throughout the entire time, throughout this whole album, I get that for whatever reason, it sounds like to me that the producer, and if there were vocal producers as well on this album, it looks as if they didn't focus on Audrey Wheeler becoming what I would say a lead singer. Well, what do I mean by that? It's like the whole album is her. It's kind of like it was style. It was just heavily focused on her background vocals. It was like her background vocals and her lead vocals were all intertwined into one, meaning that neither one was more out front than the other. You see, and so I there was not a song for me on the album except for the one where it sounds like it's a duet with Will Downing. That would be the one that I like, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But for the most part, that's what I'm getting from this album. I wanted her so much on this album after listening to it, say, listen here, Audrey, come out of this background singer's mind frame and step up to the microphone as a lead singer and out-sing whomever. It don't matter. Yeah, this is what I want to get from Audrey. I'm like, Audrey, lose the background singing and just hit it. I mean, just tear the song up. It's pretty much what I wanted to get from her. All right. So without further ado, let's talk about it. So if I listen to the song in the right order, the first song would be Try a Little Harder. To me, it's a smooth ballad. And as I said before, because I know that she's a background singer, I think she understands the approach to a song. And it seems as if she's very comfortable in this position as being a background singer, and the production doesn't overpower her voice. Like there's nothing on this album that is like overpowering to me. Nothing at all. And if I could compare her at this moment in time, if I could compare Audrey Wheeler to any R&B diva right now, if I could do that, I would say she sounds kind of like, I could put her in the category of a Kathy Sledge. You know, and I am also going to review Kathy Sledge's solo album as well. So I can put her in that category of a Kathy Sledge. And by the way, this album was produced by Daryl Craig Shepard, who produced some tracks on Eric Gamble's album Caught Up in the Act in 1989. The next song I listened to was a song called Speechless. You know, this song really makes me think of Karen Wheeler's Living in the Light. She's becoming my favorite singer. That is Audrey Wheeler. By this track, she's becoming my favorite singer. And now all I'm looking for is that hit song that makes me want to know that she can handle what I would call a power ballad. Or I'm looking for the song that would make me want to shake my booty on the dance floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm getting from her now. I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm flowing with you, Audrey. This is a great effort and everything. I just need that power ballad, and I need that song that's going to make me groove. And you have gotten my attention. So the next song that I heard is a song called Let's Take It Back. Now, listening to this song, I think immediately of Rachelle Ferrell with the song Let's Take It Back. And then the next song is called It's You. But again, I'm still trying to find my flow. I'm really, truly trying to find who is Audrey Wheeler, besides her being a great background vocalist or session singer. I'm looking for that. And then I hear I'm Yours Tonight. And because I have seen the video and heard the song I'm Yours Tonight, I already know I like the song. I really do. I like the song. And at this moment in time, listening to tracks 1 through 4, if I heard them in the right sequence, then I'm saying to myself, I see why they chose the song I'm Yours Tonight. It seemed like at this moment in time, it's the strongest song that's on the album. Until I get to track 6. And when I get to track 6, there's a song called If You Need Someone. This is when the album is waking up to me. If you need someone, if I'm hearing it in its right order. If not, it's still, to me, it's when the album heats up. If you need someone, the only thing I can say in my head is this. I know that Audrey Wheeler and Will Downing are married. I don't know if they were together during the recording of this album. But what I could say, or what I will say is that these two, their voices complements each other. I immediately think about another R&B couple at the time, and that would be A'ngela Winbush and Ronald Isley. Like, I don't care what nobody say. A'ngela Winbush's vocals, when it comes to an Isley Brothers song, it's almost like, don't give me an Isley Brothers song without A'ngela Winbush's vocals. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. It's like it's the perfect combination to me. And I get that with Will Downing and Audrey Wheeler. It's like if Audrey Wheeler is going to stay where she is vocally and not branch out, if you will, if we're not going to get the power ballad from her, if we're not going to get a song that's going to make us want to shake our booty on the dance floor, if we're not going to get that, then we definitely need Will Downing to wake up her songs. And for me, this is what happens. Will Downing comes in and wakes the song up. It's not that we're falling asleep listening to her, but Will Downing's background vocals gives Audrey Wheeler the punch that it so needs, which now makes If You Need Someone my favorite song on the album. Hands down. Love it. The next song, Time Goes By. This would be, I guess, her attempt at an upbeat song. But when she finally gives this to us, the upbeat song, to me, it's almost like, well, it sounds like everything else. Like, you know, and I was having a conversation with someone. I was going to be a part of this, a co-host on this particular podcast. And one of the gentlemen that was one of the co-hosts that was on there, you know, he was saying about sequencing songs. And I never thought about it before. And my thing is, at this moment in time, I'm almost wondering if, in fact, these songs are not sequenced right as well. But it is what it is. Then she does a remake. There's a remake of All By Myself. It's a popular song, but there are some songs, I'm not going to say not to remake. There are just some songs out there that I just feel like it's just kind of mushy. And like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And All By Myself is one of those songs. I don't even like it when Celine Dion sings it. You know, another song, Endless Love, All By Myself. And another song, Wind Beneath My Wings. Oh my gosh. I'm like, get these songs away from me. Like, they're just so, I can't think of the term I want to use. They're like sappy. Yeah, sappy. Can I say sappy? I don't like them. I just don't like All By Myself. And finally, when she finally gets there, there's a song on there called All About You. Oh my gosh. When I hear the song All About You, I immediately think of The Comfort Zone by Vanessa Williams. Yeah. It's like this is the comfort zone. This is definitely the comfort zone, and I like it. The comfort zone. It's a great song. I love it. So overall, in general, I think this album is a good album. It's a good album. I'm kind of torn between if I want to give the album a C minus or a C plus. You know, and I think it's worthy more. I think it's worthy of a higher, like maybe like a B minus, simply because of the track with Will Downing. You know, it's like a must-have track. So I'm kind of torn, but I guess I don't want to give it a C because that sounds like it's a bad. But I say a C plus. I really would. I say it's a C plus album, C plus, C minus album, simply because it doesn't have that banger, and she stays comfortably, I think, in that background session singer type of style. Yeah, but overall, in general, I think if you're a person who loves easily listening, if you love jazz, this is definitely an album for you. If you're a candlelight dinner with your loved one, this is definitely maybe that album for you. It's just a real nice, easygoing album, is what I would say. Well, anyway, if you made it this far, then I think it's appropriate to say, hey, help me with that call of action to getting up to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. Let that be the Christmas gift this year. Yeah, that'll be my Christmas gift from all of you all, to get me up to that 1,000 subscribers or even more. It is what it is, right? So I appreciate you guys on that. And on that note, I want you to remember to put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she says to me, she says, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I hope you know that I love you guys out there. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. And I feel the love right back at me. Yes, I do. And I want to say again, you know what? I feel like Donnie Simpson. And we were talking all about Donnie Simpson and Sherry Carter and all of them. Donnie Simpson would say this at the end of every show. He would say, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll still be among the stars, is what Donnie Simpson would say. But anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys next video. And until then, you know what to do. That's right. Take care of yourselves. All right. See you next video.